Discussion on the elections and taking a cue from what just happened in Cross River State and looking ahead of what may happen. Is that a typology of what to expect? Abba Jalingo joins us this morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Well, you did monitor the local government elections in Cross River State. What did you see in the light of all those complaints? Start with those who say they could not vote.
Those who say they could not vote. Yeah, a lot of people, there were a few places where, in the mainland where people could not vote. I remember there was a place in Yakpo local government. Because of violence and a part in Obumbra, they couldn't vote, and the results were still announced. Then, of course, for the Bakassi people... They
couldn't vote and results were announced?
Yes, of course. It was just one, maybe a section of the local government that couldn't vote, so it wasn't the entire local government.
Oh.
Yeah, I also know that some of the refugees, the Bakassi refugees, there was going to be uproar in the morning. According to the camp commander, he said they got information.
Are they refugees or returnees?
Well, they are refugees. I want to call them refugees in their own country. That's their refugees because they have been abandoned, obviously. Oh. So they are refugees. There was uproar in the morning. The camp commander said they got information that some politicians were going to come hire some people to go and do violence. So, but the Tagiwa came in the morning and moved about over 1,000 of them to Day Spring Island, where some of them actually voted. By the end of the day, some that could not meet up with the voyage to the island were also unable to.
Is it true that Law 7 of Cross River State says, look, you can't vote, the places where they're supposed to vote are on the mainland, not in an island?
Yeah, the law says so. But it is also obvious that with the circumstances on the ground, that law may not be applicable because It depends on the will of the people. The people themselves feel that at the camps where they have been kept today, the government has abandoned them. Several persons have just dumped them there. No, I should also say that the camp commander said the Imoke administration through SEMA, the State Emergency Management Agency, has been supplying them some of the basic needs that they have in that place. But aside from that, no other person cares about them. So they feel that they cannot vote in election times within those camps, that they need to be taken to Day Spring Island for them to vote. That is the will of the people.
What's the difference voting there and Day Spring Island?
They feel that they cannot give their votes to people who do not care about them, particularly the local government officials, and put them in power when they do not care about them. That is their feeling. They want to go and vote elsewhere and give their votes perhaps to people who they feel are caring about their conditions.
Not questioning or impugning that action, but don't you think that that may not exactly be a good decision to take? Because if that happens today, another group can come up and say, well, look, we can't vote here, we'll go and vote somewhere else.
Well, I think that morally speaking, the people are right. If you are talking about the law, they might be wrong. But morally speaking, I would rather give my vote to somebody who cares about me, if you ask me. But legally speaking, if you go and vote elsewhere, now you start talking about the legalities.
But did their votes count when they voted?
Well, there was no, I would rather say that there was no contest during the last local government election in Cross River State. So we really cannot say whether the votes actually counted or not. It was a one-party election. There are 18 local governments in Cross River State, and only the PDP featured candidates in the 18 local government chairmanship
What are the reasons? Because the State Independent Electoral Commissioner did say almost all other political parties pulled out, so it was more or less a one-party affair.
Well, if anybody said the parties pulled out, the person is telling a lie, because I published Cross River Watch. I followed all the matters are still pending in court. The APC, there are 196 political wards in Cross River State. And the PDP had all of them but 7. And the 7 of them, ironically speaking, defunct parties like National Conscience Party, PPA, ACN still had their logos on the ballot paper. Yes.
It's defunct?
Oh, yeah, well,
they're not.
Some of them were deregistered.
So I NCP wasn't.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for that correction. They still had their logos on the ballot paper. And then APC, the new party that wanted to contest the election, was disenfranchised by CROISEC. It was CROISEC that called the press conference to say that APC does not qualify to contest the election because, according to him, the local government, the Cross River Local Government Electoral Act says that elections must be conducted 90 days before the expiration of the incumbent's tenure, and that APC was registered later than 90 days, so they are not qualified to contest the election. But also, having said that, there are opposition figures, people like Obono Obla, who is a leader in the APC, has come out to say that the CROISEC chairman, Sir Patrick Otu, called him on the phone to tell him that the state government and the PDP are not disposed to having APC contest the election. That APC should write him a letter requesting for extension of time. And Obla said that he wrote a letter, he wrote a press statement to that effect. He said that he now called the minority leader in the House of Assembly, Honorable Alex Irek, to inform him of what Patrick Otu had told him. And on that strength, they informed the National Secretary of APC, who wrote a letter to CROISEC. And then 3 days